Lizzy was a woman who had it all: beauty, grace, kindness, and intelligence. Her presence alone could light up a room, and people naturally gravitated towards her. But beneath the elegance and warmth she radiated, Lizzy carried a deep pain that no one could see. Her life took a dark turn when she began experiencing severe abdominal pain. It started as mild discomfort, something she thought would go away with time. But as the month went by, the pain grew worse, accompanied by excessive bleeding and unbearable cramps. At first, she tried home remedies. When those failed, she visited a local clinic where she was given painkillers, but nothing worked. One night, the pain became so excruciating that she collapsed. She was rushed to the hospital, where doctors ran several tests and discovered the cause. It was uterine fibroids. "Lizzy, you have multiple fibroids in your uterus," the doctor explained. "They are large and they are the reason for the severe pain and excessive bleeding. If we don't operate soon, your life will be at risk." Lizzy was terrified. She had heard of fibroids before, but never imagined they would threaten her life. "Will I be okay?" she asked, fear evident in her voice. "Yes, you'll be okay, but we may need to remove your womb if there's any complications," the doctor said carefully. Lizzy's heart pounded. "Remove my womb? No, that means I won't be able to have children." "Well, Lizzy, we'll try our best to avoid that," the doctor reassured her. "But your life is our priority." With no other option, Lizzy agreed to the surgery. When she woke up, she saw her mother sitting by her bedside, her face solemn. The doctor walked in, and Lizzy could already sense that something had gone wrong. "We had no choice, Lizzy," the doctor said softly. "The fibroids had damaged your uterus beyond repair. So, to save your life, we had no other choice than to remove your womb." Lizzy stared at him, hoping she had misheard. No, this can't be happening," she whispered as tears streamed down her face. It felt like her entire future had been stolen from her in an instant. For weeks, she cried herself to sleep. She struggled to accept that she would never carry a child of her own. But eventually, she decided to move on, even though she knew that life would never be the same again. Lizzy knew she couldn't have children, but she never imagined how much that fact would define her relationships. She was stunningly beautiful, and men constantly approached her. But she quickly realized that many of them had one major expectation. It was fertility. The first serious relationship she entered was with Tunde. He was charming, successful, and everything a woman could ask for. They had been dating for about a year when he started making his expectations clear. "Lizzy, I love you," he said one evening. "But before we talk about marriage, I need to be sure you can give me children." Lizzy's heart sank. "What do you mean, Tunde?" she asked cautiously. "I mean, let's try for a baby first. Once you conceive, we can start making marriage plans." Lizzy knew she couldn't get pregnant, but she was too scared to tell him. What if he left her just like that? So, instead of revealing the truth, she went along with it. For 2 years, she pretended to be hopeful each month, praying for a miracle that would never come. Eventually, Tunde grew frustrated. "Lizzy, I don't understand," he said one day. "Why is nothing happening? Are you sure you are okay?" She forced a smile. "Maybe it's not time yet. Let's keep trying, please." But deep down, she knew the truth. When Tunde finally found out, his reaction was exactly what she had feared. "You lied to me," he shouted. "You knew all along and kept me here wasting my time?" "Tunde, I'm sorry. I was scared." "Scared? Lizzy, I want children. I can't marry a woman who can't give me that." And just like that, he walked away. Lizzy was devastated, but she convinced herself that maybe it was just him. Maybe someone else would love her for who she was. Then she met Chinedu. He was different, caring, patient, and always supportive. But after a year, history began to repeat itself. Lizzy, I need to be sure, he told her. My family is expecting grandchildren. Let's try first before we talk about marriage. Lizzy wanted to tell him the truth. She wanted to scream, I can't have children, stop making me to go through this pain. But she didn't. She agreed once again, hoping just maybe this time would be different. But it wasn't. When Chinedu found out, his words were even harsher than Tunde's words. I can't introduce you to my family knowing you will never give me children. It's over, Lizzy. And that was it. 2 men, 5 years of her life wasted. She had tried, she had prayed, but nothing changed the reality. No man wanted a woman who couldn't give them children. That was the day Lizzy made a vow to herself. No more lies, no more trying, no more marriage. From that day on, whenever a man approached her, she told them up front, I have no womb. If you want children, don't waste your time with me. And one by one, they all left. She accepted it. She was meant to be alone, or so she thought. Then came Segun. Segun was kind, patient, and treated her like a queen. He didn't just love her, he adored her. Lizzy had already made up her mind that marriage wasn't for her. But Segun made her feel things she had buried long ago. For 6 months, they dated, and unlike the others, he never once pressured her about children. Then one evening, as they sat in his car, he held her hand and said, Lizzy, I don't want to wait anymore. I want us to get married. Lizzy froze. Marriage? She had sworn never to go down that road again. But Segun was different. She loved him. But what if he changed when he found out? For weeks, she battled with guilt. She didn't want to lose him, but she couldn't keep lying. And finally, she gathered the courage to tell him, Segun, I have something to tell you, she said, her voice shaking. He looked at her, concerned. What is it, my love? Tears welled up in her eyes. I have no womb. I can't have children for you. She waited, praying he would say something comforting. Instead, he pulled his hands away. You mean to tell me you've known this all along and never said a word? His voice was laced with disappointment. Segun, I was scared. I'm so sorry. He shook his head. You let me dream of a future with you without telling me something this important? Please, I love you, she cried. Segun's eyes darkened. I can't marry an empty container like you. Lizzy gasped as the words stabbed her like a dagger. Get out, please, he said coldly. Tears streaming down her face. Lizzy picked up her things and walked away. That night, she made another vow. Never again. Lizzy locked herself away from love. Segun's words haunted her like a ghost. I can't marry an empty container like you. She replayed that night in her mind over and over again, each time feeling the sting afresh. How could someone who claimed to love her say something so cruel? But it didn't matter anymore. That was the last time she would ever allow herself to fall for a man's sweet words. From then on, Lizzy made her stance clear. Whenever a man approached her, she wasted no time. I have no womb. I can't give you children. If that's a problem, leave now. And they all did. Some left politely. Others reacted with pity. A few looked at her like she was cursed, but Lizzy didn't care anymore. She buried herself in her career, focused on building her career and business, and lived her life with no expectations. Years passed. The once vibrant, hopeful woman had now become indifferent to love. By the time she turned 40, she had completely erased marriage from her mind. If God had destined her to walk this life alone, so be it. And then, one fateful day, everything changed. It was a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Lizzy had been invited to a wedding, but she had almost skipped it. Weddings only reminded her of what she could never have, but her best friend convinced her to come. And so, dressed in a simple but elegant gown, she made her way to the event. She had barely settled in when a voice behind her said, "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" She turned around and saw a man, tall, well-dressed, with a warm, genuine smile. His name was Adefemi. They got talking, and for the first time in years, Lizzy found herself enjoying a conversation with a man. Adefemi was different. He wasn't just kind, he was attentive. He listened to her, made her laugh, and spoke with wisdom that left her intrigued. By the end of the wedding, he asked for her number, and she hesitated for a moment before giving it to him. She reminded herself that it meant nothing. But days turned into weeks, and their conversations never stopped. He called her every day, checked in on her, and treated her with a level of respect she hadn't felt in a long time. Then, after 3 months of knowing each other, Adefemi dropped a bombshell. "Lizzy, I want to marry you." Her heart stopped. Not again. She had to tell him the truth. She couldn't go through another heartbreak. Taking a deep breath, she said firmly, "Adefemi, before you say another word, I need to tell you something, please." He listened intently. "See, I have no womb. I cannot have children. If that is a problem, please walk away now." She braced herself for the disappointment, the rejection, the words she had heard so many times. But Adefemi smiled, and then he asked a question that shook her to her core. "Did you create yourself?" Lizzy blinked in confusion. "What? Did you create yourself?" he repeated. "Of course, no," she answered, not understanding where he was going. "Do you believe your creator can create something out of nothing?" She hesitated before nodding. "Of course, yes, it can." Adefemi took her hands gently. "Then why are you worried about womb or no womb? See, Lizzy, with or without a womb, I am ready to marry you." Lizzy's breath caught in her throat. She searched his face for any sign of doubt, any hesitation, but there was none. For the first time in years, someone had looked beyond her condition and still chosen her. Tears filled her eyes. Are you serious?" she whispered. Adefemi chuckled. "I have never been more serious about anything in my life." Their wedding was beautiful, simple, intimate, and filled with love. For the first time in her life, Lizzy felt truly at peace. She no longer worried about children. She had zeroed her mind from conception. All that mattered was the happiness she had found in Adefemi. 2 months into their marriage, Lizzy started feeling strange. She woke up nauseous, struggled with dizziness, and felt tired all the time. At first, she ignored it, thinking it was stress. But when it persisted, Adefemi insisted she go to the hospital. The doctor ran some tests, and when he returned with the result, he looked like he had seen a ghost. Lizzy sat up. "Doctor, what is it?" The doctor stared at her, shook his head in disbelief, and then said the most shocking words Lizzy had ever heard. "Lizzy, you are 7 weeks pregnant." Silence filled the room. Lizzy's mouth fell open. "What?" "You are pregnant," the doctor repeated. "This is impossible. I'm the same doctor who removed your womb years ago. There was no womb left now." Lizzy felt the room spin. How? How, doctor? The doctor was talking, but she couldn't hear him. All she could do was clutch her stomach, tears running down her face. A womb that didn't exist had carried a child? She couldn't believe it. She rushed home, and as soon as she saw Adefemi, she burst into tears. He rushed to her side. "What's wrong, my love?" Between sobs, she whispered, "Babe, I'm pregnant." A wide smile spread across his face. He held her tightly and whispered, "With God, nothing shall be impossible." Months later, Lizzy gave birth to a healthy, bouncing baby boy. The same doctor who had told her she could never conceive was the one who delivered her miracle child. As she held her son in her arms, she realized something. All those years of pain, rejection, and heartbreak had led to this moment. Her story wasn't one of sadness, it was a testimony. The same woman who was once rejected because she had no womb was now a mother, because only God has the final say. Lizzy's story is a powerful reminder that no situation is truly over unless you declare it so. She could have given up completely. She could have accepted the lies that she was finished just because doctors said so. But the moment she chose to trust in God's power rather than human limitations, her story changed. Many times we allow our circumstances to dictate our future. We hear words like, "It's impossible," "There is no hope for you," "You will never recover from this," "You will never succeed." And we believe them. We put a full stop where God only placed a comma. But the truth is, no case is finished with God unless you finish it in your mind. Lizzy was told she could never have children. Science had confirmed it, but God, the creator of life, had a different plan. God is not limited by human knowledge. He is not bound by medical reports. He is not controlled by what people say or think. The only thing that can stop your miracle is your own mindset. If you choose to limit God's power in your life. So no matter what you're facing today, whether it's sickness, barrenness, rejection, or failure, don't write yourself off. Because with God, nothing, and I repeat, nothing shall be impossible. I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you in the next video. If you like this video, you will definitely love the next one. Click to watch it now. Goodbye.